الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. ونشهد أن سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيبنا محمد رسول الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة في الدين ضلالة. أما بعد, brothers and sisters in Islam, continue on the same subject of the last khutbah which we had in the matter of the intention and the importance of the intention as is the fundamental and the foundation of every act that we do in Islam. Now the question came up last time that the intention sometime you, or not sometime, it should be, let's put it as a default, it's all the time, that we do it with the intention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then during the action, when you do it, things could change in a way that sometimes people will look at him or will see that action and praise that person, and could make that person to have thinking and make him wonder if this action still will be in a chapter of to be accepted and to be only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it will be mixed with the other people. In other words, publicizing and hiding the actions. What's the view of Islam in this matter? Shall we publicize it or shall we hide it as much as we can? The rule of thumb is in the fara'id and the arkan. So we have areas in Islam. There are certain areas which is mandatory, that it's on, like on me, on you, on everyone else. This is called al-fara'id, fariḍa, al-salah that we do, al-jum'ah now we came for, al-zakah that you pay, the fasting, the 5 pillars of the Islam, those are fara'id. And then we have the arkan al-iman, the pillars of the iman, that's a must for every believer to have that. So al-asl, al-idharu fi al-fara'id wa arkan al-iman. The rule is, for the fariḍa, what is mandatory and what is for the iman are to publicize it and to show that what you do. You don't have to hide, go like you do the dhuhr prayer to say, I want to hide it because I am afraid that people will see me that I am praying. No. Really the matter is good that you announce it, to declare it that you are doing this. You are doing the fard. So for the fard has no reason to hide it. It's on contrary side, you have to really publicize it and make it announcement that you are doing this because it's mandatory. There is no show off, because as much as it is fard on you, it's fard on the other person as well. So there is no something to compete with that you are doing in a higher level. This is a minimum line to do the fara'id. I hope that's clear. So in that area, there is nothing to be hidden. You don't want to say, I don't go to the jama'ah, so that people will say I'm not going because of the show-off. People will say that I go there. We mentioned last time that you cannot discontinue of the action to say people will tell me, oh, maybe that's you are doing for show-off. That's not a valid point in Islam to do. So when you come to the fariḍa and you come to the jama'ah, you see it as a fard on yourself. The other side also the same. So there is no any preference in that area. That's one side. The other side, al-katmanu fi al-nawafil was sunan. when it comes to the nawafil, the sunnah, it's preferable as much as you could hide. Now, if you have a guest at home and you normally wake up, for example, for Salatul Layl, Salatul Tahajjud, you don't have to wake up the other person to make a noise and to make that person to be awake that you are doing the Salatul Tahajjud. That's not preferred. So it's better to hide it. As much as you do quietly, you go to, if you have a bathroom, you know, if you flush it, it will cause the other person to wake up, go to another bathroom. In other words, you have to try, work on the action as much as you could to hide it. So that's from the nawafili wa sunnah. So, and you apply it for the rest. Now, there are certain cases that you don't, this is not like a must. Remember this, it's not like a must that you have to hide it. But it's preferable, we are talking about the purifying this act as much as the quality of the act to make it. So if you are doing the sunnah at masjid, but you are not doing it at home, something is wrong. Like if you come to masjid, you do the sunnah after Maghrib. But if you pray at home, you don't do it. That's not good. So you have to stay in one standard, to have a standard. So if you pray at home, you do the Maghrib, but you do the sunnah after Maghrib, good. If you come to the masjid and you do the same habit continue. So because you did not break anything, your heart doesn't show that you are doing something different because it became part of you. Now, why the announcement of the, as we do the actions, sometimes we are not paying attention to the other side. So you will get the feedback from the other side to tell you that you are, or alhamdulillah, you are doing this and that. So how can you react? How can you react? So what your soul has to behave in a way, this action to stay in the pure matter and status. Number one is, the joy is okay. Farahun Mahmud, like the joy is good. That sometimes some people will tell you that you are doing great. For yourself, you should be happy that inside yourself. You should not say, oh, I'm doing more than that and stuff, start to brag about it. But you have to keep it. Now, here the key. When you do that and people will tell you that, you have to have something with it. First, you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not from me. He guided me for this path. That's one. Second is, Saliheen, the good people, they used to say that with this. Subhana man abhar al-jameel wa satar al-qabih. Subhanallah, glorified to the one who shows the good out of me and he covers the bad things. The bad things. Hassan al-Basri said, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the sins do not have stink. If the sins would have stink, nobody could afford me. People, they should have run away from me. This is Hassan al-Basri. And so if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected us from the wrong action to be publicized and to be shown to the people, and the good things people are getting the feedback, you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the one who ظهر الجميل وستر القبيح, who shows the good out of you, and then the one which is bad, he could publicize it easily, but he hided that from you. So you won't do the bragging for yourself. You start to link it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That will stay your act in a proper manner. Number two is to have a hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these are the signs of things that people are giving you, that you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have the same in the day of the judgment. At-tafa'ul bil-akhirah. That the same hope that in the day of the judgment, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you gave me this in the hereafter, I have the same raja from you that I will get this as well from you. So that's number two. Number three is, sometime when you do the right thing, the good deeds, it will be encouragement for the others. And this is a valid point always. That when you look at the people, sometimes you come to the masjid, and I'm just giving an example of the masjid most of the time because that's kind of, it's known for everyone. You do not do the prayer of the sunnah, but you see someone does it. So you compare yourself. Does his body is more than, I mean, do I have anything less than him? No. Why he does it, he will get that much of khair, and I'm not doing it. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. And maybe this is my friend, I have to talk to him. I'm sitting here. Why should not do the same that he's doing? I should do it. So, من سن السنة في الإسلام سنة حسنة فله أجره وأجر من عمل بها إلى يوم القيامة. So if you create that habit, that you do the right thing, you will get the reward of what you are doing, and then the one who is imitating you. So that's where the benefit is. That you take that opportunity, that you be encouragement for the others and follow your footstep. Now, the matter of doing that action, so it could be public or it could be privately. If it's public, it's good. I mean, you come to the masjid, you can't hide it. If it's private, now look at this verse in Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he says. الذين ينفقون أموالهم بالليل والنهار سرا وعلانية فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. 4 things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in this verse. The one who spent for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, day and night. Now, people may think that at night is always private. Not anymore. People nowadays are awake more at night back home, maybe the other side of the world, not here. You have to really, I don't know, maybe with a pandemic, people get to stay home more and be lay off. But in normal life, people are awake in the daytime, and night are more private. But here the verse came in 2. Now also the 2 things came after that, so that it will cover that sirran wa alaniya, privately or publicly. So private or public, either in day or night, 4 of them. In any case of those, whoever spent for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he did not limit it only to say sirran and fil layli, at night and privately. He announced it for publicly, privately, day and night, 4 of them, for all of the choices and cases that could happen. So, therefore, Imam Ali was saying, I used to cover this verse, if I used to spend the money, when I spend the money in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I spend a dirham at night, a dirham at day, a dirham publicly, a dirham privately, to cover 4 of them. So that's amazing, to make a balance in the verse and be able to show that I follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. So this is an example of spending for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, some people, they like to, the announcing of that, it depends. In the hadith, متفق عليه, سبعة يظلهم الله في ظله يوم لا ظل إلا ظله. The 7th group, all of you, most of you know this hadith, are covered in the shade of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then one of them is that the one who spent with his right hand and his left hand doesn't know. Where the case is? The case is when you spend, you give it to someone very poor. You do not say, okay, I will do for encouragement. You go in a public and you say, okay, I gave him some money, you know, he's needy, I gave him that much. That's wrong. Because you made the khair, but you destroy the other person. You destroy the other person. The other person maybe out of the ta'affuf, he doesn't want to even beg, or he doesn't want to, but you go and you went and you forced him because you know he's in need. So you have to keep that privacy completely. Otherwise, it will be minna on what you are doing. I will finish in the second khutbah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. من عمل صالحا فلنفسه ومن أساء فعليها وما ربك بظلام للعبيد توجهوا إلى الله بالدعاء. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. Brothers and sisters in Islam, so that measurement is always has to, you make the judgment. If it will cause other people the action, then you have to be careful. But if you are for the sake of a project, for the sake of say, a program about the Quran class or about the education or about anything could help the people, now in this case, it's better to announce it. And for each of those, we have proofs from the Prophet ﷺ. So in that case, that you encourage others to make the same that what you are doing. And that will be in a positive side. That will not cause you issue. But areas like we went through examples of certain prayers and so on and so forth. So also guiding the people to go to the right place. Sometimes you know the good place, but you want to do the good for the others. So you invite him in a way that he will follow you and go to that good place. Now, in another point of the benefit of this feedback when you get it, is when this will be a sign for the people to like you. To like you, al-hubbu fillah. Because in the hadith al-sahih, Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, ثلاث من كن فيه وجد حلاوة الإيمان. Three things. If the person has them, he will feel the taste of the iman. He will feel it. Wallahi, definitely. He will feel them. Number one is, أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. Love of Allah and His Prophet be at the top. If you have love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet in your heart, wallahi, this life, children, family, whatever comes to your mind will be in the lower level. Nothing will be compared to that. So when you have that gift, when you get it, you feel the taste of the iman in your heart. So that's layer number one. That always at the top that you feel it. Number two is وأن يحب المرء لا يحبه إلا لله. When you like a person, you do not like him except for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People, but that's not always. People get to the business, work together, and that relation make it to like each other, be as a friend. That's different. The love, when it comes al-hub, that it's matter of that has as a place in the heart. But all of us goes to work. You deal with the people. You like the behavior of certain people. But 5 o'clock, you clock out, done. You come out, it's a different person you are. But there are certain person that you find them to have a link with your like in your heart. So that's for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And يحب المرء real hub. The real like is لا يحبه إلا لله سبحانه وتعالى. So when it comes to that, it will show you the sign of that relation, that all people are better to like you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's good that they do not like you for the evil people to like you in the wrong one. So I was planning to cover the hidden side. But wallahi, it's exactly the same amount of the publicizing when you get the good for the feedback. I'll postpone, inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the soul back, to the next khutbah, why do we have to hide the sins or publicize the sin? Because that's really another area. Now, this area we talked about the good deeds. We did not talk about the bad deeds, how to get the feedback and what to do in those. We will do it, inshallah, in another khutbah, inshallah. A'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our heart, inshallah, with the iman. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us those people that we do any action is only for His sake. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify our heart, inshallah. Wa sallu sallimu ala nabiyikum imtithalan li qawlihi tabaraka wa ta'ala. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك وإنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت فلك الحمد على ما قضيت نستغفرك اللهم من جميع الذنوب والخطايا ونتوب إليك اللهم اصرف عنا هذا الوباء يا أرحم الراحمين واخرجنا منها سالمين يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا، واجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية في الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم وفقنا ووفق أولادنا لما تحبه وترضاه، واغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولمن له حق علينا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها، أنت وليها ومولاها يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله. قم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله